those places were like, yeah, they don't use them.
Well,
Because the traveling teams are so accustomed
these
to not
traveling
having
teams,
them.
they'll just go back to their motel or wherever and take showers and things.
Which
So-
they'll be surprised when they get here and find out we don't have those.
Yeah,
Leave
I don't
plenty
think
of
they
room for
expect it.
tents.
Well, I think the city better be redesigning that intersection right there on Shulman.
LaRue and
Because that is going to be congested.
Well, oh, there's Grant.
Morning.
Should we wait a minute for Ron, or?
We have more of them.
You're good.
Yeah. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. I'd like you all rise to say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make Ron do it by himself.
What's that?
We'll make Ron do it by himself.
Yeah, see if he knows it, see if he can say it by himself.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, hopefully you've all had a chance to read your consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comments. Senator Clifford.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me. Just like to compliment folks who ran the Western Kansas Showcase that Joe Coles puts on. I was able to visit all the sites, the EMS Health Department, Dave German and Lance's build in cooperation with the college and of course the refinery. Great turnout, a lot of students, and I really appreciate what folks in the community are doing. It's kind of neat to take my view because I'm a mile wide and an inch deep as a state senator, so I get to see most everything, and you just realize, all the pieces matter. Finance, especially the workforce, as we well know, the work you all do here, and all the governing bodies working together. Also heard from Shannon at Rotary. I always learn something every time I listen to him, so appreciate getting the word out. I want to drag him to Topeka with me. Switch to the State House. Finally, we start on the 12th in Topeka. I'll leave it up, I think, the 10th. Everybody should have my cell phone, 260-5799. I'm already getting 500 emails a day, so text me that you sent me an email or just text me. So I'm not always aware of how we're damaging local entities. And so please alert me. So Merry Christmas and thanks for your work.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, Dr. Clifford. Okay, update from Lana Duvall, President.
Well, we'll start with, I went to Holcomb City Council last week where Ron was reappointed to the board, but apparently that
He forgot.
that was just all he could take, and he didn't want to come this morning. So, we are excited that they chose to reappoint Ron. He is going off of the council. He didn't choose to run again. His term has expired, but they felt like having that continuity and keeping him on the board was a good idea. So we're glad to have him back, and Dave will be up for reappointment at the January meeting of the Board of Trustees. So fingers crossed for Dave, everybody.
That sounds like they're gonna push me that way.
If you do too good a job,
I know.
they
That's
keep
what
you on.
happens. Well, then, how'd that happen?
We try not to make you work too hard, but
It's just that getting up early, that's the only hard part.
Not for me. I'm up and down all night long.
who needs sleep?
That's right.
All right, we'll dive right in. Prospect 1225, not to be confused with Christmas. This is an industrial project that we provided some potential sites for. They have been doing some due diligence, and Shannon had an opportunity to visit with them as part of that due diligence. They were encouraged to reach out for some data from our office, which is kind of interesting. But they've indicated that we are a leading contender right now, so we'll continue working with them and hopefully get them a happy place here in Penny County. 1125, this is a tech industrial project that we're working with. Would be a public-private partnership. We have a follow-up call with them tomorrow. So lots of conversations are on this project, and we'll see if we're able to put something together. These are always a little trickier because they're not quite as straightforward as just standard private projects, but it's been a very interesting conversation. So we look forward to furthering the discussions there. Oh, sorry. Thought you had another question.
That's going to be interesting.
We are assisting an existing business here with a new facility, and had some follow-up meetings yesterday Stuart was a part of, so thank you for that. And we'll be going before the County Commission in January to discuss their facility. 1025-3 is a hospitality development, and we've assisted them with some performas and utility partner discussions, and are now forwarding those conversations with the county's planning staff. Lots of work on several of these, just nothing's really raised to the level of additional updates on them yet. The Amazon delivery warehouse, we're hearing a lot of positive comments during Christmas season that folks are pleased to be getting quick turnaround on their Amazon deliveries, so that's nice.
I've seen a lot of drivers around town, too.
Yeah, again, we were really excited about that job type being available here. I think there's a lot of folks that are enjoying that. I've heard some conversation around some retired folks who are doing it on kind of a part-time basis, and then we felt strongly that it would be a cool opportunity for college students and with their flexible schedules and stuff. So, yeah, we're glad that it seems to be working out well for everyone. On the Icon Cinema, we are in conversations with KDOT on the entrances out there. The city completed their kind of global traffic study that they did of that northeast region for the new Sports of the World expansion, as well as the retail expansion and the Petra housing project. So all of that is kind of tied together, and we can't really move one piece without, it's a little like a Jenga tower. So, but the good news is right now the tower is still well stacked and everything is moving the right direction. So we're excited about that. The Petra group it's engaged with an engineering firm that has been out and working with the surveyors and such to move their project forward, and their engineer is working with the Icon project to get their engineering coordinated. So again, a lot of moving parts and pieces, and we field a lot of phone calls and emails double checking information on that, but everything's moving forward, so we appreciate KDOT's assistance.
And there's potential for restaurants in that area as well.
Yeah, there's actually a significant amount of commercial frontage there.
I know the public will want to know that.
People are hungry. People are hungry.
Have they kind of set maybe a tentative date to break ground, or are they even to that point?
No, we're not to that point yet. Their engineers are making good progress, obviously working with the city's engineers, but now we have, we won't let Stuart comment on this because you know how architects talk about engineers and vice versa, but we've got all the engineers, the KDOT engineers, the project engineers, got everybody in conversations right now, figuring out how to not trip over each other and make sure they have all the easements they need and the utilities go in the right direction. At the same time that the city did the global traffic study, they also did the wastewater redesign, determining how they're going to tie, make sure everybody has a place for their sewer lines to go. So there's a lot of moving parts and pieces in a really small area out there, and it's just, like I said, it's a lot of engineers talking to each other, and we don't ever know how long that will take, but everybody's working diligently to get their parts done. So, yeah. Lots of housing discussions moving forward, which is very exciting. As you all know, we have significant housing needs, and they're just getting worse, not better, or better, not worse, I guess. If you like the demand for housing, they're getting better. We are starting to see the home sales, the interest in home sales is starting to kind of re-energizing conversations around us, which is encouraging. We usually start hearing about people thinking about getting back into the purchasing mode before they actually start contacting realtors. So we're hopeful that the first quarter sees, we've had some, I just say lag in home sales. I don't think that's unexpected considering where interest rates have been and the uncertainties around the ag economy, and that just weighs on people as they make big decisions like that, obviously. So I think we're starting to see that start to relax again a little bit, and people are getting accustomed to where we are on interest rates and feeling more confident that things are in a good place. Kind of the same as what we've seen with our industrial projects and many of our commercial projects. In fact, just everybody's starting to get a little more comfortable with where we are and regain confidence. So we're excited about what 2026 is going to bring.
Lana, I have to tell a story when they were doing the Western Kansas Career Showcases, and Dave had a group of students in there, and he asked them, and there were 3 different groups. I don't know if he did the same question to all of them, but I thought it was really a good question. He said, how many of you here want to be homeowners? And they all raised their hands. And he said, I can tell you if we had 1,000 people in the room, 1,000 people would have raised their hands. We need home builders. I thought that was so cool.
Good for
It had
him.
Great perspective.
Yeah.
So true.
Good for him. Yeah, I think, again, we aren't good enough at appreciating those. We do have really good builders here. And we don't do a good enough job of appreciating those, like Dave, who have been creative and really found a magic, method, if you will, to really hit some of the sweet spot for housing. So we should be more appreciative of those who are going out. We understand it is always a risk. You don't know what the public wants, right? But it's awesome when we see our local builders investing in our community and trusting that we're going to continue to grow and continue to provide opportunities for them. So please thank Dave on our behalf for that.
Absolutely, and he thanks you for all the work you and your team do for the home builders.
No, thank you. We appreciate that. Country Acres, we had a discussion with Gary Spikes and his design team. They are working on replats of phase 2, 3, and 4 of the Country Acres subdivision. So we've got some further discussions going with them. That property is now in, as of January 1st, will be part of the immediate growth area, that envelope, if you will, in the area adjacent to the city. So that modifies the design standards that they'll be held to. So we had some follow-up discussion with them to help start planning how those future phases may look, but are excited for them. And Hunter's Glen, we continue to work with Mr. Snodgrass on that development. They are, I just had a conversation with him yesterday. He's feeling confident that the public building, that kind of common space building that they have planned for front-ish, center-ish of the development should get underway in early 2026, so we're excited about that. That'll be a good space to have available out there in that community as it continues to develop. Lots of meetings this month, and lots more coming. Having good conversations with St. Catherine Hospital. Their new CEO is very active, really making himself a part of conversations around the community, and we're excited as they continue to move forward with a lot of the initiatives they've been working on. The new heart cath lab is underway. If you've been by the hospital, you see there's a lot of construction trailers around and a lot of activity going on out there, so we're excited about that. and really, really pleased with the discussion they're having around the culture, the workforce side of the culture, and they completely understand that they've got some bridges to build and some confidence to rebuild in the community. So we're really, right now, feeling really good about the conversations we're having at all levels of local management as well as the regional support team and the corporate partners. So we're going to continue to support them. Obviously, healthcare is a huge piece of community success and certainly one of the pillars that folks are looking for when they're making a decision to relocate. And one of the best things we can do is support them. We're fortunate that we have a private healthcare system, and we don't have to rely on taxpayer funding to support that, but we absolutely need to be a good partner to them, and they are, again, acutely aware of a lot of the opportunities available for them, and we want to help them embrace those. We've done a lot of work on county regulations over the past month, and we'll continue to do so. Really appreciative of the county leadership. Derek Ramos is doing a tremendous job, and the county commission is being very supportive of all of the efforts to modernize the regulatory framework at the county, and we're just really pleased with what we're seeing out of our partnership there. So we'll continue to be available to them for anything we can in support of those efforts as they continue to prepare for what we believe is a very, very bright future for Finney County. So excited to work with Derek in that realm. And we're fortunate. Representative Bob Lewis brought Senate President Masterson out last week, and Shannon and I were able to meet with him. So over the last 2 months, we've had the opportunity to meet with Speaker Hawkins as well as now Senate President Masterson and just share information about the region. Interestingly, I think, we kind of always expect that we're going to surprise them a little bit with the data and the information that we can provide about the growth of the community and the opportunities and, quite frankly, the threats and the stressors that we all feel in relation to state government. But it's always interesting when they're really surprised to get the information. So we really appreciate Representative Lewis getting them into the community, and bless his heart, he makes a whirlwind tour when he has them out here. He tries to show them absolutely everything, and we really appreciate the time that he allots to our team to share information and answer questions for him. So thanks to Representative Lewis for that. Also, you'll be hearing a lot of discussion around the Workforce Connection Youth Committee. Many of you didn't serve on the board when that group was super active, but we had formed the Finney County Workforce Connection. Time goes too fast, but I would guess 10 years ago. And one of the committees related to that was a youth committee. And that committee was really focused on our middle school, high school students and that transition into career readiness, as well as working with the community college and higher education. So that committee kind of formed the traditional pathway of education, if you will, whether students were interested in technical careers, just immediately out of high school careers, or the university pathway. That committee is reforming. We have a meeting today to get the conversations restarted around that. The Garden City High School has a new career tech ed coordinator in place, and she came to us with pulling out her hair saying, I don't even know how to meet all these regulations we have, and I need help. And we said, good news for you, we've already solved this once. We have a toolkit. We're ready. So we're restarting that committee in order to provide the support that she needs in her efforts, as well as to really get our advisory committees aligned between Holcomb High School, Garden City High School, and the community college as we move forward. So excited about the opportunities to work with them on that.
That is great to have that revitalized.
Yeah.
Why did the student part of it die away? Was it COVID or?
Yeah.
That was my.
Yeah, that committee was really the most active of we had 4 committees tied to the Workforce Connection, and that committee was the most active just because it was very much a working committee. There were a lot of activities. We had career fairs and the career showcases and all of those things tied to the youth committee. So it was. Unfortunately, when we went through the pandemic and everything had to go to virtual meetings and we weren't able to do those live events, it just kind of went by the wayside. And we're glad that there was a catalyst to kind of reinvigorate that work, and we look forward to it. And Grant is working alongside as I'm spending a lot of time with them right now to get everybody kind of caught up and re-educate this new group on how we had everything laid out and what worked and what didn't work, and so hopefully save them some steps. But then the plan is that ultimately Grant will be able to take that on as part of his workforce development role. So yeah, and that is my update for you. It is a lot, and I spared you a lot of painful detail. Unfortunately, Vicki has been in a lot of these discussions. Stuart's been involved in a lot of these, so everybody knows that I gave you the sampler plate, if you will, of what the last month has looked like.
Any further questions for Lana?
No, just a comment. I know you've been burning the midnight oil and doing way more than your share of the work, which you always have, but I just want you to know that we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we'll hear from Steve Cottrell, Special Projects Director.
Good morning.
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 Had to borrow Grant's phone this morning, so it didn't tell me what day it was, so these are tomorrow's.
I happen
we'll
to
be
know.
ahead.
I heard it on the radio. I can tell you what day it is. National Maple Syrup Day.
All right.
In western Kansas.
Let's all go have some pancakes.
Tomorrow's even better.
Okay.
Answer the phone like Buddy the Elf.
I don't know if I can do that.
Arabic Language Day, bake cookies. Snowflake Appreciation.
Oh, okay.
International Migrants Day, Crime Junkie, Regifting Day, Roast Something Pig Day, and Wear a Plunger on Your Head Day.
Wear a plunger. I can hardly
see
wait for
that.
tomorrow.
Yes.
We'll stop by the office and
I
see
want
how
you
it
to come
goes.
by the office tomorrow afternoon with the plunger on your head. Okay. On the industrial side, we have 2 RFPs from Commerce. We submitted 2 sites for an unknown project that needed 5 to 20 acres and 50 employees maybe. And then we submitted the city's Southeast Industrial Park for a manufacturing concern that needed a couple hundred acres. So we did the city's piece, and in conjunction with the Transload facility, hopefully that will satisfy their rail needs. Down at the bottom under residential, those are actually industrial as well. Worked on a prospect at the airport and special permit regs out in the county. On December 2nd, City Commission, the airport is on pace to break 32,000 employments this year. An all-time record. Adopted an ordinance issuing $8 million in taxable revenue bonds for pad lot development in the parking lot at Garden City Plaza. And issued bonds for, passed an ordinance issuing bonds for capital improvement projects around town. Yesterday's agenda was not available when I had to put this out, and it's still not, so. Shannon will have to tell you what went on if you have questions. County Commission on December 1st did a waiver to non-conforming property size out on West Mary. And then on the 15th, considered appointments to the Planning Commission rezoning on West Jones in a final plat of Longhorn Lane Second Edition, which I'm assuming is somewhere near Longhorn Lane First Edition. And then considered parcel plats for the Turner Barrio Estate and Martin's Industrial Edition. And then I worked on commercial expansion area plan. And on the residential side, I am still drawing urban or rural density lots in the northwest part of the county. So that's what I've got for y'all.
Thank you, sir.
I will be out, excuse me, I'll be out at the airport Friday morning. Where are we at with that additional parking facility out at the airport? Anybody know where that's at?
The city commission has had conversations around it as to where it is on the priority list.
Okay.
I don't think they've set
They haven't
any
said anything yet.
specific plan for it. Mm.
Okay.
Carpool.
Carpool? Okay.
It's nice we have a parking issue, though.
Yeah, it is.
It's growing.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Next up, we'll hear from Scott Ost, Communication Director.
Good morning. The website is up. Had a lot of page views, nearly 2,500 page views this past few weeks. I went out to the refinery grand opening and wrote an article about it, and it was a good crowd out there. Nice facility, as everybody mentioned earlier today. Also, I restarted about 8 years ago. I did a series during December of downtown businesses for Christmas. We started doing that again this month, a little scaled back a little bit, not quite as intense. I also got Grant to help me with a few stories. So the top ones were Corner on Main so far, Colleen's Trophies, and Flourish Herbals. Plan to keep doing those through Christmas probably, maybe through the end of the month. Facebook is the same. It's the same stories, refinery and then downtown businesses. Twitter also squeaked by with some Crystal Apple Awards. People like that post. As you can see on the Facebook page, the post views went way up due to the refinery mostly, but also people are really enjoying the downtown stories. So 63,000 post views on Facebook the past 3 weeks, which is pretty good.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll entertain any questions anybody has.
If you haven't had an opportunity, you need to go look at the business stories there. He does,
Yeah.
and Grant did a great job stepping up and,
A little bit of editing.
yeah, but Scott ran him out there like a cub reporter to go get stories. So they
love
divided and
those.
conquered, and it's been really fun. It's always fun to see those local business owners get excited when their story gets posted. And so thank you to Scott and Grant for their work on that. We love being able to support those businesses that way.
Yeah, I love those stories. It really, and I would really like to see you continue with these human type stories, just like somebody that maybe not well known or underappreciated or something that, the people of our community think that's awesome.
If anybody has any suggestions for people like that, I'd love to hear them. So just shoot
Okay.
me an email or give me a call.
Great. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Scott. Next up, Grant Lindenberger, Business Development.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
First up, client 9251. This client initially planned to share space with another establishment, but determined that both logistically and financially, the arrangement was infeasible. Currently, they've been unable to secure a location with affordable rent and suitable accommodation for their business. So they are exploring online food sales as an interim option to remain compliant with state regulations. I advise the client to first identify a licensed commercial kitchen they can rent to prepare the products they intend to sell online. The business would be required to register for a Kansas Department of Agricultural Food Establishment license, which includes specific operational requirements because the products will involve cooked meat and refrigeration. Kansas regulations require that production occur in an inspected commercial kitchen rather than a home kitchen. So before investing in forming an LLC We're moving forward with any licensing. The most critical next step for them is securing access to licensed commercial kitchen they can legally operate from. Next, client 1125-2. This client continues to make progress in developing her event concept and is now actively engaged in engaging potential partners. Most recently, I assisted in drafting a sponsorship proposal to share with a prospective sponsor, marking an important step towards securing early financial and community support for the project. The focus remains on building initial partnerships and validating interests while keeping the scope and costs appropriate for a first-year event. Client 1225-1, our team met with this client and he provided a slide deck on the vision of their business plan. Afterwards, I provided the client with an SPDC business plan template along with a financial worksheet to help them begin refining both the written plan and projected numbers. Local and state liquor licensing resources were provided, and the client was encouraged to continue submitting updates as the plan develops. And then initiatives are pretty much the same as last month's. YAC 2026, Youth Development Committee, CNA, assisting with Higher Paths, and assisting Shannon with this AI initiative as well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
With regard to the commercial kitchen issue, how far away would Great Plains Makerspace be from something like that?
A ways.
Okay. We need a benefactor.
We're working on it.
Okay, awesome.
Additional questions for Grant?
That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll hear from Shannon Dick, Director of Analytics.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Get ready for the quickest Shannon report in the history.
I don't believe it.
Believe it.
It should be. I will say with the housing discussion we were having a little bit before, we are still, for a community our size, we only have about half the amount of houses that we would typically have in typical times, typical community. All that is us, but so there are a lot of houses on the market right now, but it's still nowhere near where we should be if we had sufficient housing. So just keep that in mind. I do the same thing as you see more for sell signs than we had before. That's just because we're somewhat catching up to how many houses we need on the market. Still nowhere near where we need to be or we're going to need to be. So we've been pretty busy in the office, as you know. So this is just a quick first step into this topic. But I thought it was good to just bring up and just think about things a little bit differently. And this goes back to relating to the water conservation and the Q stable numbers and stuff like that. So if you go to the second slide, when we talk about Q stable and what we need to do with our water reduction to have a stable aquifer, we always talk about like in general like that 17% reduction overall is kind of what we need to do. And we always kind of think of that reduction being through reduction spread among every single piece of land equally. Right, so for example, in the example up there we have a bunch of blue fields. We'll say that's representing how much water they have because there's not too many blue crops that we have. But say each of them are at 150 acre feet. And that means we're at current usage of 750 acre feet. And say in this region, we need to reduce, you can't see, but it says 20%. That says 2 right there, but if you scoot over just a little bit to the right, it'll say 20% there. So say we need to have a 20% reduction to reach Q stable here. Which means we need to, for these 5 fields, overall reach 600 acre feet of used water, right? And so the way that we've been thinking about it, and I think the way people typically think about it is, well, we need a 20% reduction. Let's reduce how much water is through each of those fields individually. And so now instead of having 150 acre feet, they use 120 acre feet. Well, another way that we could achieve the reduction that we need is through elective retirement, where if there are some fields that go to 0, then we can have some other fields that are allowed to stay at the same rate and reach our stable aquifer. And that going to 0 can be through different things. We have retirements for the farmers, and it just goes fallow. We have a retirement of the water rights. I know GMD3 was really pushing on people voluntarily retiring their water rights and getting some credit back for that. So we could really achieve this in a lot of different ways. But it's a different way to think about this sort of problem with achieving that stable aquifer, which doesn't get a lot of talk about, but it still is a way to do it. So just what I established for this next thing is for every region in GMD3, so we've talked about GMD3 regions and all the different places that we need to do it. What I did is I have that water retirement index by GMD3 region. Let me go up a second just so I can point out what this number means. So I wrote, so in this case here, we had 5 fields, and we need 20% reduction, so if we take 1 field out, that preserves 4 fields, and we're at stable. So that's 1 to 4. So 1 retirement allows 4 to stay at the current level that they're at, and we reach a stable aquifer.
Shannon,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think it might be important to have a quick reminder of what Q stable means as far as replenishment and so forth.
Right, so Q stable means that when a region reaches Q stable, that means the water that we're withdrawing from the aquifer is matching the replenishment. And that's going to be different in different areas. So if you're by the Ark River, you get a lot more replenishment. But that Q stable means once we achieve that number, we are using water at a indefinitely sustainable. We can use that rate forever. In a lot of those places, we're close. And actually, if you look up in Northwest, the region that's called Northwest Kearney, we have an NA up there. That's because they actually are Q stable already. They are not, the level of the aquifer is not decreasing up in that area. So that's why there's an NA, because we already hit that. But we can see around, so if you see Garden City is just right up in that kind of, right here. You can see the county boundaries, and then it's all the different regions. And remember, those regions are established by the formations that they have underground, what soil types. Those were all established by using different things. So like if we just say like the ditch service area, which is just that region to the north and west of Garden City, if we were to just go through a voluntary retirement route, for every 1 field that's retired, that preserves 8 fields at current usage. If you just say right down, if you look at the Ark River, just to the west of us in that region, for every, up a little bit,
This one?
right there, for every 1 field that's retired out of there, that preserves 37 fields worth of agriculture. So again, this isn't the way that we're not going to make all of our water savings through retirements, but this is another way for every 1 field that does get removed from production and from the water use, we are saving multiples of other fields that immediately become aquifer stable. We immediately hit our targets that we need to do. So just kind of something to think about, and just a different way to think about the water conservation route in there, and there's some pretty big numbers there. Taking a look at those elective retirements will preserve a lot of agriculture. A little bit will go a long way out in these regions. So, any questions there? Again, first step on looking at stuff like this, just kind of a map. We can kind of start to get a perspective of what we're dealing with.
Is there any other way to, I don't know, show us or to abbreviate acre feet?
Yeah, so 1 acre, this is a number I should have off the top of my head, but I have it on my Excel formulas. So once I get it in there, I don't do it again. 1 acre foot is a lot of gallons. For me, I mean, agriculturally, it's a standard unit of maybe. Do you know, Sam, off the top of your head, how many?
I might get it wrong, sorry.
Yeah.
It's a lot of gallons.
26.
Yeah, 325,000 gallons. So we're talking about 1 acre foot. We're talking a lot of gallons of water.
Okay.
And that 150, I just grabbed that. That's, I don't know how standard that is, but in one of the regions that I was looking at, that was a pretty standard usage per well use. So
That's a foot of water.
Foot over.
Spread over an acre.
Is that 325,000 acre feet, or 325,000?
gallons a year, yeah. So.
About how much we were losing from the pool?
Every day. So these numbers that you show up here, these would be voluntary.
However they would be removed. It's just, we always think about reductions in a percent on everybody, but you could also think about a reduction if there was, for every 1 foot that is removed through, if there's the option to retire your water rights, which is, I know, one of the things GBT was looking at. If 1 field were to do this, how many fields would that immediately make it stable for the whole area in those regions? So So down in Grant, for every one that would do that, you'd have 7 fields that would immediately become stable. And there's obviously going to be combinations of things, water reduction, but if you have water reductions, like say we reduce the amounts of water used in that Grant region, that 1 to 7 here. So if they reduce their water usage by half to get to IQ stable, that means for every one field that's removed, 14 fields are now preserved at that level. So obviously there's going to be a combination. It's just, we don't really talk about this sort of water savings. It's always just in a reduction across the board. And this is just another way to think about what the impacts of different things could have to our system. And I don't think people really talk about it in this way much. This was it. A lot more to do, just threw it up there because it was something, just a different thought to have.
Yeah, I think the other thing to consider about it is it gives a little more flexibility to these producers as they think about water going forward. You know, if there were some crop that required more water, for whatever reason they felt like that was, you know, more viable for their operation, or maybe it was a direct to consumer versus a commodity product, they could, you know, let's say they themselves have, you know, 5 operating fields within the same region, and they figure out that, oh, if I want to double down and actually use more water in a more concentrated area, if I gave up these 2 or went to a non-irrigated crop on these 2, does that allow me to shift? So, you know, to Shannon's point, it just allows us to be more creative as we look at those opportunities. Our goal all along has been, yes, of course, we want a stable aquifer, but we can't take away the economic viability of the folks who rely on the use of that water and the stewardship of that land. So this is just another way that we can really keep the conversation moving for folks and make sure that we have an eye on the long-term economic stability of the individuals as well as the industry as a whole.
Questions for Shannon?
I have to go quick and just give you my quick stepper.
Sit down.
Okay, new business,
No,
old business,
no.
upcoming events.
The annual meeting has been scheduled for January 22nd. That is a Thursday. I put that in all caps, not because I'm yelling at you, but just because we're so used to meeting on Wednesdays, I think sometimes it's valuable to remind you that these are both on Thursdays. So January 22nd will be our annual meeting. We'll have the regular meeting, and the annual meeting follows that at Garden City Community College in the Omar Angeles Endowment Room. So
The regular meeting will start again at 7:30,
no.
at 10.
You get a break. We go a little later with that one. So depending on how much is it looks like we're going to need for that meeting, we usually set it for 10 o'clock, which still allows time for a little bit of a break between the regular meeting and the kickoff of the annual meeting. So the general public typically starts arriving around 11:30. And we serve lunch that Marie prepares for us with love, and then dive in on the annual meeting programming. So,
Okay, we have a need for executive session.
we do. We have a need for 2 executive sessions. We do, yes. So we have a need for one related to client confidentiality, and then a second related to unelected personnel.
And do we have timelines for each, or?
I would anticipate you'll want a 30-minute client confidentiality.
Okay.
And then I will not participate in your non-elected personnel. So you'll be able to set the time you feel you need for that one after the client confidentiality.
All right. Hear a motion to go into executive session?
I move to go
Oh, go ahead.
into executive session for client confidentiality for 30 minutes,
I'll second.
including Lana.
Been moved and seconded. Go into executive session for 30 minutes. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, staff.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your hard work this year, you guys.
Yeah.